Economic factors.
The Palestinian economy has witnessed many ups and downs, mainly due to the general political situation. GDP growth averaged over 10% per year between 1994 and 1999, but slumped following the outbreak of violence in 2000, with the Palestinian economy experiencing one of the worst recessions in modern history. However, GDP has always rebounded when given the chance, increasing by 8.5% in 2003 and 6% in 2005, reaching the same level as in 1999.6. The GDP recorded an increase by about 9% during the 3 quarters of 2010 compared with the same period of 2009. The growth was concentrated in economic activities with the largest share of GDP in agriculture and fishing, construction, wholesale and retail trade, transport, storage and communications, services, and public administration. The construction activity recorded the highest growth rate during that period, by about 36% GDP per capita for the Palestinian territories. This increased by 5% during the 3rd quarter of 2010 compared with the same quarter of 2009.7. There was a 3% increase in the total number of workers during the first 3 quarters of 2010, compared with same period of 2009. This was due primarily to an increase in the number of workers in the construction industry and services sector in the Palestinian territories. The unemployment rate during the first 3 quarters of 2010 reached about 24% compared with 25% during the same period in 2009. The unemployment rate declined in the West Bank from 17.7 to 17.3% and in the Gaza Strip from 38.4 to 37.9%. Still, the rate of unemployment is woefully high and a great strain on the Palestinian people. 8. Regarding trade movement in Palestine, the total exports and imports, there was an increase during 2010 in revenues of the value-added tax related to trade exchange with Israel. In 2010, exports increased by 8% compared with 2009, and imports increased by 6% compared with 2009.9. Consumer prices had increased from January to November 2010 by 3.58% compared with the same period in 2009, and that resulted in the decline of the purchasing power. 10. The year 2010 had witnessed additional government reforms in tax collection in line with the Reform and Development Plan that the government has been implementing since 2007. Local revenues, tax and non-tax, accounted for about 38% of total revenues, and that covered part of current expenditures, thus reducing dependence on foreign support to cover the budget. Government revenues had increased by 17.3% during the first 3 quarters of 2010 compared with the same period in 2009, whereas government expenditures declined by 2.7%. In addition, the deficit in the general budget declined by 22.5% during the first 3 quarters of 2010 compared with the same period in 2009. The industrial sector had witnessed a decline by 6% during the first 3 quarters of 2010 compared with the same period in 2009. The total number of workers in the industrial sector had increased by 2% during the first 3 quarters of 2010 compared with the same period of 2009, increase by 2.3% in the West Bank and a decrease by 2.4% in the Gaza Strip. Industrial activity constitutes about 13% of total GDP. 11.